You know, life is something that teaches us lessons every day, whether we want to learn them or not. The people we encounter, the places we go, the things we experience each moment is a teacher. And one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you is knowing when it's time to let go. That's right, when it's time to stop holding on, stop chasing, stop begging people to stay in your life when they've already decided to walk away. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but somebody in this room is holding on to someone they know in their heart isn't meant to stay. Holding on to that relationship, that friendship, that situation, and you think if you just squeeze a little harder, if you try a little more, it'll work out. But let me tell you something. Holding on to someone who doesn't want to be there is like holding on to a rope that's burning your hands. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we beg people to stay when they're already halfway out the door? But here's the thing, you can't be afraid of life's natural flow. People come and go. That's the nature of things. Just like seasons change, so do people's roles in our lives. Sometimes they're only meant to be there for a season, and that's okay. But when you start begging people to stay, you're interrupting the natural order. You're trying to freeze time. And let me tell you something, you can't stop time. You can't freeze people in place. Life moves forward, and so should you. Everything where you've sacrificed so much and you think that by holding on a little longer, by doing a little more, you can keep them. But I'm here to tell you, you can't. You can't beg someone to love you. You can't beg someone to stay. Love isn't something you can force. It has to flow naturally. When someone's heart isn't in it anymore, no amount of begging, no amount of pleading is going to change that. If anything, it pushes them further away. Here's the truth. When people show you who they are, when they show you what they want, believe them. When someone wants to leave, let them. The biggest mistake we make is thinking that holding on to someone who's already gone is going to save the relationship, save the friendship, or save the situation. But that's not how it works. Holding on is just prolonging the inevitable. And I get it, I do. You've invested time, energy, emotion. You've given so much of yourself, and now you feel like letting go means losing everything you've worked for. But let me tell you something about life. It's not about holding on to what was. It's about being open to what can be. You can't step into the next chapter of your life if you're still stuck on the last page. Life has a funny way of moving whether we want it to or not. Sometimes we think we can outsmart it, negotiate with it, or even delay what's coming. But the reality is, everything in this world has its time and its place, and when that time is up, there's nothing you can do to extend it. And you can't hold on to people who've decided to go. You have to let them move with the tide. Otherwise, you're just swimming against the current, exhausting yourself for something that's no longer within your grasp. You see, we tend to think that holding on means we're fighting for something, that it's a sign of strength. But sometimes the greatest strength comes in the form of letting go. It's in recognizing that love, relationships, and connections can't be built on desperation or fear of loss. They have to come from a place of mutual respect, trust, and a shared desire to be in each other's lives. Begging someone to stay doesn't strengthen that bond, it fractures it. When someone wants to leave, they're telling you something. It may be painful, it may be something you don't want to hear, but they're telling you the truth. And as hard as it is to accept, you have to honor that. You have to honor yourself enough to not cling to something that no longer serves you. Because here's the reality, if they're meant to stay in your life, they will. But if they're meant to go, no amount of pleading or begging is going to keep them around. That's not how love works. I understand that feeling, though. That fear of losing something or someone you thought was supposed to be there for the long haul. You look back at all the memories, all the time you invested, all the dreams you built in your mind. It feels like a loss you can't recover from. But let me tell you something, every closed door leads to another opportunity. Sometimes we're so focused on that one door closing, we don't even realize there's a window opening right beside us. It just means you've come to a place where you value your peace, your self-respect, more than the idea of holding on to someone who's already walked away. It means you understand that their leaving isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just part of life's natural progression.